You're watching the Rhoda Wilson Show, and we're delighted to be back again with a brand new series. For the next few weeks, we'll be talking to great guests who are looking to inspire you by telling you about themselves and their businesses. Also, we have a new segment, or section I should say, called Opinion Point. This is where the Rhoda Wilson Show is on the streets of London, asking the public for their opinions on various questions. So stay tuned. Now, are you a person with a lot of talent and abilities, and you don't know how to turn them into reality? Well, Sabirul Islam is here to tell us more and to help you. Sabirul, welcome to the Rhoda Wilson Show.
Thank you for having me here today.
Sabirul, the reason we connected was because you wrote a book called The World at Your Feet. Yeah. And I want to understand what actually inspired you to write this book, to motivate young people.
Well, because I kind of grew up in the borough of Tower Hamlets, and a lot of young people in that area, you know, are growing up in families that are from deprived backgrounds, and that often is a negative inspiration for them. So yes, they're in school and, you know, being educated, but that for many young people, that is often not the right way forward. So they turn into the crime and violence as a way forward to earn their money, to do something, you know, because their parents aren't earning. Most of the parents, you know, live off government benefits. And that, for me, is a personal matter as well. And so for me, at the age of 14, I wanted to do something more than just education, not just get my GCSEs done and think I'll be going to college, uni, and then getting a job. Mm-hmm. So at the age of 14, I set up my first business. And that was because when I was 13, I looked up to my cousin. He was a real inspiration for me. Yeah. Because when he was 14, he set up his first business. And to me, that was like, wow. You know, he's like, at the age of 14, becoming a managing director in secondary school. And so I went up to him and said, cousin, can I work for you? And so he gave me a role in his business where he designed calendars for teachers. Yeah. And within 2 weeks, he sent me a letter, you know, saying, Dear Sabirul Islam, you're fired.
Oh!
So I was hired and fired at the age of 13 by my own flesh and blood. Now that taught me a lesson that, hey, should I go out there and work for somebody else where I have the talent, the skills, and the ability to do it myself and earn the money that I can do, and not work for someone and make them the millions? So that's when I started my first business, which was a web designing business at the age of 14. And my first clients were Merrill Lynch. And how I got to them was because my school had connections with firms in the city. Yeah. So I didn't want to sell to the teachers in the school and everything, because that's where you make very little money. I wanted to beat the £60 profit my cousin made in the entire year. And so Merrill Lynch, yeah, that was like being a millionaire. I didn't have to go ask my parents for money to buy the crisp sweets and drink. He got it all in his pocket. So I wanted to beat that. That was my inspiration. That was my motivation. And so at the age of 14, set up my business, ran it for 2 years, and within the first 2 weeks, I made over £2,000 profit selling a website to Merrill Lynch, a corporate organization. And that for me was like, yes, the end of the world, you know, like I've beaten this £60, that's it. But then Merrill Lynch, at the age of 16, came back to me and said, Sabirul, we've been following your journey. You've been running your own business. You've been doing your GCSEs. And yet, you were able to not see this crime and violence as a way forward. So they gave me the opportunity at the age of 16 to go to New York and learn how to trade in the stock market. And that for me was an incredible experience, working alongside professional traders in the Dow Jones, in the New York stock market. And for me, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And when I came back from New York, that's it, I thought, let me put what I learned to action. So I became a part-time trader in the London Stock Exchange.
And how old were you then?
16. And then for me, it all kind of clicked in, the fact that at the age of 14, I become an entrepreneur. At the age of 16, I had the courage to become an investor. Now, for me, back to your question, how the inspiration came back in writing this book, a lot of young people came back to me and said, Sabirul, how on earth do you run your own business at the age of 14? How on earth do you become an investor? How on earth do you still have the time to do your GCSEs? And yet feed your family as well. Help growing in this society, in the borough of Tower Hamlets, where a lot of young, deprived families are growing up. And I told them, you know, all you need is the self-belief, the motivation, and, you know, to be able to see the belief in you that you can do something. But one problem was it got very annoying. Too many young people were coming up to me and asking me the same question. So I thought, how can I inspire these young people? So at the age of 17, I wrote my first book, called The World at Your Feet, Turning Your Vision into Reality. And this book, for me, really opened doors to many opportunities. It brought me into public speaking as well. So,
so you do public speaking as well?
Yes, at the age of 17, my first speaking engagement was where there was 250 head teachers from the 250 schools across the UK, and I was invited to be a guest speaker. So I just you know, gave my speech about how I became this author, how I become this investor, this entrepreneur, and it just blew their minds away. And
well, I'm blown away already. And gosh, I could just imagine sitting there as one of the audience, you know. I tell you.
And for me, it was just an incredible experience to have grown up in the Borough Times and seen this pain through my family. You know, my parents are from Bangladesh, and they've come here and they've tried very hard to make something of their lives, but it's not really, you know, kicked in, or nothing's really happened.
Together, yeah.
And for me to be able to do all this and to pay back, but hey, you know, at that time I was still only 17. And there's a whole new story around that book as well, not just about inspiring young people, but how I actually managed to actually get the book done in itself, because I approached 40 different publishers to get this book published.
And what did they all say?
I got rejected by each and every one of those 40.
Did you hear this, ladies and gentlemen? 40.
Yeah, 40 publishers. And I got rejected. Having been rejected, it didn't stop me. I said, I've got an audience, I've got a market out there. These young people are wanting my help, my advice. They've seen that a young kid has been able to do all this stuff, and that's where they see the inspiration. Not looking at the big names, the Richard Bransons and the Peter Jones and all that, but someone in their own age, in their own community.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, an inspiration for them. And when I sold 42,500 copies of this book to over 333 different schools across the UK through my public speaking,
yeah,
all 40 of them came back.
You're kidding me.
Every single one of those 40 came back to me and said, Sabirul, we now want to publish your book. And it was now me just standing there saying, I don't
talk to the hand, because the face ain't listening.
Exactly, exactly. And that was an incredible moment.
Oh, wow. This is great. Yeah. Because, I mean, some of the things the book cover, I was just, whilst you're talking, I was just going through it very quickly. Living in a box, what does that mean?
Yeah, because that's, for the great example is Tower Hamlets. Young people who grow up in that borough don't want to go outside. They want to stay in their local community, work along with their local people, which is good. Yeah. But you need to often see the bigger picture, the bigger world. And that is the problem for people, young people, not just in the Borough Towns, but across the UK.
Yeah.
You know, they just like being with their groups, with their friends, and not seeing their opportunity, opening their eyes to see what is out there for them. And that is what they need to change. They need to change that system, because I didn't go to my local primary school. I didn't go to my local secondary school. I didn't go to my local college. Mm-hmm. But these young people, that's what they're doing. These three things, primary, secondary, and college, you know, has a real big impact in their mind, in their system, that, hey, I've gone local, let me stay local. Let me go to a local university. Let me get a job here at a local store. Mm-hmm. And that is the typical, you know, thing.
Mindset.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, you've written another book since this as well, called Strikes
to a Successful Entrepreneurial Life.
But I see that also in your first book, you did mention the 3 strikes to success as well. Is that where you kind of developed the idea?
Yeah, that was the basics. I didn't really develop the idea of what the 3 strikes was about. But then a lot of young people coming back to me and said the 3 strikes was the really powerful thing for them, having the intensity, the integrity, and the intelligence within them to be able to turn their vision into reality.
What is intensity?
The strength within them, because a lot of young people nowadays, they think they're powerful, they're strong, you know, they've got their group, they like these their peers and everything. But that is weak. That for me is weak. That is the vulnerability within these young people, that they don't go out there and they don't do something, make something of their life. Yeah. So to have the intensity is being able to be strong and say, hey, I can do this. Yeah. I have this I can mentality within myself, that I can set up my own business. I can, you know, become a doctor. I can become an investor, whatever you want to be. And that is what the intensity provides. And let me show you the second book. This was published by Mark Cavendish, who weren't one of those 40 publishers.
Who rejected you initially?
They weren't one of the ones.
Oh, they weren't, okay.
Yeah. And they came to me at the age of 17, actually, when I just turned 18, and said, Sabirul, we want to take your book on a global scale. So this was relaunched on June 18th of this year, and is now sold in W.H. Smith, Waterstones, all the retail stores.
Wow, I'm so excited for you. This is very good.
And the foreword for this book is written by Tim Campbell, the winner of The First Apprentice. Yeah. So that was quite an achievement.
But this is very, very interesting. But what kind of research did you do into this? Or were you just developing from your
my
experience?
Journey, my experience. And for me, that is the most important thing, to be able to, that provides the story.
Yeah.
Because every single person out there has a story to tell. They may think that writing a book is all about fiction, is all about, you know, finding ways to create this character and trying to build this character. The character is within you.
Yeah, that is true.
You are the character. Now tell your story. Tell these things, the stress you've had in life, the success you've had, the pain, everything. And that creates a path for you in life. And for
I am inspired, Sabirul. I mean, we're going to take a break. Just hold that thought. Just hold on a second. We're not going to take a break, so please do not go away.